Wednesday, the 15th of January 2025, and live on radio in the Gambia and across the globe on the World Wide Web. It's Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. Thanks for joining us. Question: should the Gambian diaspora, or rather non-resident Gambian citizens, be entitled to vote in national elections in their country of origin? Well, this thorny issue has risen again as we seek to make greater diaspora engagement a key plank of our national development strategy. Whereas initiatives to increase the diaspora's economic involvement in their homeland's economy is largely uncontroversial, diaspora political engagement has been less so. And yesterday, Dr. Cisse's contention on Coffee Time with Peter Gomez that it would take changes, sometimes difficult changes, to the Constitution and the voting system to accommodate Gambian citizens abroad doesn't wash with Pa Samba Jaw, who is of the opinion that if the diaspora is being asked to invest and contribute even more to national development, they should have a greater say in national issues and the democratic process.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning to all the listeners. Peter, I had listened to your interview with Dr. Cisse, and I must state categorically that his explanation as to why the diaspora is not voting or cannot vote cannot and must not stand the test of time. Peter, for way too long, Gambians in the diaspora have been pushing for their right to be respected, even before there was a President Adama Barrow. The Save the Gambian Democracy Project started this push, even when Jammeh was there, to ensure the enfranchisement of Gambians. How do I know? I was in the middle of it. When the change happened, Gambians, Right to Know, MSDG, worked with the IEC to ensure that our rights as Gambians were respected. The MSDG went to the extent of providing valuable data to the IEC as to where Gambians lived in the diaspora and how voting could be conducted. And in fact was willing to help with funding if that was needed. This was why when the IEC announced its 2021 to 2023 election calendar, which they did on July 13, 2020, the diaspora was part of that list of places where voter registration would take place. And this was why they, in fact, set a date of July 1st to July 31st for the registration of Gambians in the diaspora. And Peter, furthermore, if you look at even the budget, the 2021 budget, the National Assembly appropriated $165,164,100 for voter registration, and of which $22,750,000 was allocated for travels, whilst $45,140,600 is for allowances. Peter, why would anybody need $22,750,000 to travel in the Gambia alone? And then the presidential elections, it allocated $122,884,195, of which $18,245,000 was for travels and $66,444,500 for allowances. Peter, this was all geared towards having the diaspora vote. What I believe, and I would say here without fear of exaggeration, when Adama Barrow and his party, President Adama Barrow and his party, realized that maybe they could not win the diaspora, they decided to have cold feet and drag their feet. And the IEC demonstrated its lack of independence by denying us a right to vote. You do not need a constituency in a presidential election. Every Gambian in the diaspora came from a constituency. We could have all been registered based on the constituencies that we came from or come from. And then when we vote as a block, and you will not name or count the votes. You do not need to separate the votes. It is a presidential election, for God's sake. Peter, we've gone through all legal arguments on this. We've gone through a National Assembly hearing. I was part of that hearing, spearheaded by MSDG on this same matter. And every legal person who was honest agreed that there was no need for a constitutional amendment for Gambians in the diaspora to vote, particularly for the presidential elections. Peter, I formed part of Gambians who took the IEC to court to affirm our rights to vote. It was myself, Bibi Dabo, Sidis Sane, Jagan Gray Johnson, and Mr. Charmajai. And the Supreme Court agreed with us that Section 39 of the Constitution guarantees every government, irrespective of where you are, the right to be registered, to vote, and to participate in elections. And Peter, this idea of the laws needed to be changed and all that, that colonialism and all that. Listen, the 1997 Constitution was written by us Gambians. And Section 41 is very clear that you need an act of the National Assembly to determine how elections are to be held. So you do not even need a constitutional amendment. All they have to do is amend the Elections Act, just like they did in 2017 when it suited them. This is the time for Gambians, all Gambians, particularly those in the diaspora, to be given the right that they so deserve. Any attempt to explain it away is nothing but to deny us our fundamental human and constitutional right. With that, I thank you very much.